Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Friends in the Fight, brought to you by Mighty Well. My name is Emily Levy, and I'm the CEO and co-founder, as well as a chronic illness fighter, dealing with Lyme, POTS, CIDP, and a host of other things. And really the purpose of hosting these lives every now and then is for you all to see who are the people that inspire Mighty Well every day. Who are the young men and women who are really changing the game of fashion with disability and chronic illness? And how can we all move forward and work together? So I have been following our guest today, Janira Obregon, for quite some time now. And we are so fortunate that she is joining us today. There is a little bit of a lag, so we'll take the questions slow. But why I've been so impressed with you is just your entire outlook on life. I feel like is very similar to mine. Positivity in the face of, serious life-threatening health setbacks. So I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit more about yourself.
Well, hi, everyone. I'm Janira Obregon. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I was born initially with the umbilical cord around my neck, but I was sent home as thinking that everything was okay. A couple of months later, my mom realizing I wasn't developing as a typical child was. So she took me back, and that's when they diagnosed me with cerebral palsy. Schooling has always been like as another typical child with disability, extra help, extra support. I kind of forfeit that when I got to high school because I wanted the same experience as any high school student with a high school diploma. And yeah, I have an associate's in paralegal studies and a bachelor's in English with a minor in law.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And well, I've gotten into modeling, I guess, almost a year and a half ago now. It wasn't planned. I had just reached out to Runaway of Dreams and asked them if I could be part of their lookbook. And then, they contacted me back saying if I wanted to be a part of their workshop, and then later on, part of their New York Fashion Week. And that's kind of how it all started.
Wow.
Oops.
In a wheelchair and being very open with your story of living with disability, to be a part of this has been amazing. We were so fortunate that the Mighty Well Mighty Pack was featured in a recent Runway of Dreams fashion show with Zappos. So there's definitely a lot of connections you and I both have as we've both started getting more into this world of adaptive fashion. So I would love to start, back up a little bit. You touched upon this briefly, but being a student living with disabilities, I would love for you to talk a little bit more about that. That was something that I certainly went through and struggled with. But I think, in my situation, I was undiagnosed for about 7 years. And it wasn't until I was 19 where I started to need disability services, more for cognitive challenges I was having. But in your case, you really seem like you've excelled in school and said that this is what's going on in my life, but I'm not going to let that stop me. Can you talk to our viewers a little bit about how you managed to successfully get through school and be an advocate for yourself?
Through elementary and middle school, that was basically my mom helping me out, and also, how would you say it? I had like all the accommodations I needed, IEP and everything. Mm-hmm. But when I got to high school, it changed. I wanted a high school diploma just like any other student, and not an RCT diploma. So
what is that?
Say it again. Sorry.
What is that for people who don't know what kind of other option of diploma there is?
So an RCT diploma is a diploma where the standards are lowered for people who have disabilities, and it's only a local diploma for the state that you're in, versus a high school diploma, which
sense.
is statewide. Not
and
statewide.
Really, that would, if you didn't have a normal high school diploma, could see that there'd be a lot of factors that almost limit your growth opportunities long term.
Right. I would still need to get a GED or something a different way if I didn't have the high school diploma.
Wow.
So
and so what would your advice be?
Go ahead. I kind of had to forfeit my IEP and say, well, I no longer need these accommodations because I want my high school diploma. I had to be in a regular classroom and with 20 plus students, one teacher, but it was hard. But
and by the way, you were top of your class.
Yes, I was top of my class.
Top of your class. Wow, that is outstanding. And what would your advice be for people who are thinking, who may be high school students and say who are trying to face, one option versus the other?
I would say that if it all depends on you. If you believe you can do what others are saying you can't, then I would say fight for it and just don't give up and don't take no for an answer.
Wow. No, I completely agree with you. And just one foot in front of the other is what my mom always said. And in my case, it must have just been one day after the next and just keep fighting. Now, I would love to jump into, you touched on it a little bit, but finding your way to New York Fashion Week. I know you reached out to Runway of Dreams, but for those who are chronic illness or disability influencers or trying to get into this space and they want to see themselves or someone like themselves represented in fashion, what would your advice be to them? Like, do they need to, have a lookbook together? Do they need professional shots? In today's Instagram world, how can they get into major modeling like you have?
So I started with the Runaway of Dreams, but since then I've kind of just reach out to people in a way and say, would you it's all connecting and not being afraid. Like I said, reach out to people and say, would you like to work with me? Or it can be something as simple as having some professional photos and posting them and doing things that way. It's more about how you want to build yourself, I would say.
How you want to build yourself and get into it. And I think for you, Instagram has been a major force in that.
Yes.
For sure. And so what was it like, showing up for one of your first major fashion, events, and it just happens to be New York Fashion Week? How did that feel for you?
Honestly, it was amazing, and sometimes I feel like I still that wasn't me in it, but just to be a part of especially with the Runaway of Dreams, making change and showing that those who are differently abled have just as much as right as those who are able-bodied to be in these shows, and advocating for that and showing that we can just be just as cool and succeed as well.
And so that is amazing, and just showing up, I think, is so much of it. When I mentor, especially other young entrepreneurs, I tell them the half of it is showing up and reaching out. That's probably the hardest part.
Yes, I would honestly say that's the hardest part. But once you get through that first part, like reaching out and saying, I have this idea, would you like to work with me? And most of the time, people are willing to work with you. It's just not being afraid and taking that first step.
Wow, that is like what the whole Mighty Well mentality is. So I'm so glad to have a new friend in the fight like you. So I'd love to move on. I know that you're not just a pretty face and smart brains, but you have also become an advocate for others. Why don't you start by telling us what are the topics you're most passionate about advocating for?
I think first starting with education, because a lot of people, I would say, have low standards when it comes to people with disabilities and education. They automatically think, well, we can't excel in school. And I feel like just showing that we can, and going to school and graduating, and that's like very important. I've had people telling me, um, I don't go to school because people expect less of me. And you always use an example, like myself, and well, hey, I did this and it wasn't easy, but I did it, and I surprised many people by doing so.
And that's, I think, what real leadership is. Um, I completely connect with everything that you just said, and it's not easy. You have to show up every day, even when you don't want to or don't think that you can. You're going to get people who don't believe in you, don't understand why you're doing this. But at the end of the day, what I've told myself is like, those people aren't for me.
Right. And I have a very particular story. At the end of one semester, the professor was meeting up with students to talk about their strengths and weaknesses. And one of the first things he said when I entered his office was, I want to apologize to you. And he said, I want to apologize because when you first came in my class, I expected less of you because of your disability, but you showed me that that was not the case. And you received the A in my class. So just hearing that from one person can make a difference.
Yeah. Wow. You clearly are on your way to changing lives. So besides education, is there anything else that you're really passionate about advocating for, and how do you go about doing that?
I think since being part of the fashion world now, that's been like another way I would like to advocate. And I've been trying, my best to work with people who are willing to work with me, and being, showing up for more fashion shows. And not only that, but working with my designer, the designers that give me the opportunity in adapting my clothing that they make.
It's amazing that you're using your experience to say, I'm one of the first, but there should be so many more, and I'm going to help make that happen. I think that takes true courage. One of my good friends, Allie, said that you are so inspiring. So I guess we're both inspiring. So thank you, Allie. Allie is an amazing advocate for chronic illness, mental health, as well as Lyme disease awareness. So thank you, Allie. So you've been advocating now, using your story and being a part of this, but what role of fashion and modeling comes into your advocacy work? Do you think it's more people just need to be included in the design process, or is it that we also just need to see people on the runway and in photo shoots?
I think it's both. Honestly, I think when a designer is planning their fashion show, not just, choose people who are able-bodied, but if somebody has a disability reaches out to you and would like to be a part of your show, say, well, take that chance and say yes, and have them in your show, and then work with them, designing a garment that works for them, that adapts to their needs.
Mm-hmm. And what do you wish these designers knew? As someone myself who lives with a chronic illness and a port in my chest, I also am a designer. What would you want for your everyday life just to make your life that much easier?
I would like to see, I think the word adaptive clothing or adaptive design when a person design, I think you should already be thinking about, everyone and everyone's needs and everyone's accommodation. So I think I would like to see more of that inclusivity and not just design for one person, but try to design for everyone in mind.
Yes, this is completely a term I've struggled with. That's what it's hard because that's what the market and the big brands of the world are calling it. They're calling it adaptive wear. But why should your needs and my needs be considered adaptive? Why is this not just on the spectrum of what just happens to be normal? Because this is my life and this is your life. And there may be issues that an able-bodied person just doesn't understand at times. And I think that's why it's so important that people like myself and you and all of our other friends in the fight keep saying no, I'm here. Just because you don't see me on the runway and just because you don't see me, on the fashion ads in the subway doesn't mean I'm not a huge percentage of this population. So, you and I are going to work together on this, and we would love to continue to have you, help us and just be a part of what we're building with Mighty Well. I think your voice is so key. You can help speak for others. So building off of that, but why do you think, adaptive fashion is important right now? Why do you think finally in the last year or so, it's becoming a thing? I really see this as the next big fashion category. That's why I've dedicated my life to it. But from your perspective, why do you think it's happening right now?
I think it's happening right now because there's so many more advocates out there now. So many more people fighting for this particular thing. And
Yes,
I think, back then there probably wasn't as much people, so the impact wasn't as much. But now we're in an age where social media is important or reaches more people, and because of that, we're able to show more of ourselves and say, we're here, we matter, help us out more.
yes. And I think, I see it almost as a spectrum. There's someone like myself who may be in a seated position, and then there's someone like me who lives with a port in her chest and nerve damage on the right side of my body. Looking at me, you would never know that I fit into this category. Whereas, looking at you, it's like, okay, she may need special products. How can we help, change this narrative that, disability is a spectrum? It's not, one size fits all.
I think to change the spectrum would be, as someone who is able-bodied or doesn't have a disability, to be open-minded that, disability, that there's a very big range of, of disabilities, and that, invisible disabilities do exist. It's not just physical.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think, we just need more voices and more faces. Patience Stone said, go Janira, so you definitely have fans out there. I would love to move on. You know, since you live as a spastic quadriplegic, you know, what has been kind of the hardest parts of mobility, you know, in dealing with your day-to-day life? And I know you live in New York City. I just moved here. Like, I am just so overwhelmed with the subway and getting on the streets and the sights and the smells. Like, it is definitely a challenge. You know, how have you adapted to growing up in a city?
I think over the years it's gotten somewhat better, but there's still places where it's difficult, especially in the city, because not all streets have a curbside where my chair can get on, or a lot of restaurants or stores are not ultra accessible. So, and sometimes they say they are, but in reality, they're not.
Once you get
You
there,
know? Yeah, when I get there, they have a
yep.
ramp that's not even like ADA compliant, or, you know, the elevator has not been working for a long time, things like that. So
it's all these challenges that people don't even think of. Wow. And so we sent you our latest product, the Mighty Pack. You have a chance to receive it yet? I know we shipped it out earlier this week.
Yes, I got the Mighty Pack, and I completely love it. It's like one of the best it's like the best backpack, because there's so much space inside. I can literally put all my things, everything I need inside. It does not lose its shape. It's like waterproof, and I like the style. It's I mean, you can't go wrong with the black. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, eventually we'll do other colors, fun patterns, but I thought like classic black, like that's a good way to start. No, I'm so glad we were able to get you one. You know, it started out of just my own need of carrying around IV supplies, but also my laptop for work. And, you know, sometimes when I go through airports, I do use a wheelchair if I know it's going to be a long flight. So we really wanted to create the perfect product, you know, to serve everyone from your needs to my needs to a diabetic's needs to a traveling nurse's needs. So I'm so glad to hear that it's a product that can work for you. And we want to show people that it can work for, you know, so many different ranges of medical needs. So, and I don't know if you saw, but there's like clips that you can adjust so it better fits on your back, on the back of your chair.
Yeah, it's perfect on the back. It doesn't hang too low. Sometimes with other backpacks, it hangs and it kind of messes with the wheels. But this, you know, fits perfectly and doesn't do that.
Oh, that's awesome. Patience asked, where can she get a backpack? You can get one on mightywell.com or on the Zappos adaptive page under Mightywell. So check those out, mightywell.com or under Zappos adaptive. And I know we're going to give Janira a special discount code for her followers to share that. And, you know, one of the things I want to definitely highlight about this is that, you know, we started because I had a need, you know, to make my life more comfortable and more accessible while living with chronic Lyme and, you know, long-term IVs. But it's really just turned into this larger community where we've gotten to meet people like you, meet people all different ranges of abilities, you know, physical and cognitive. And we just wanted to include, you know, patients and people with mobility challenges in the design process, because I think that's what, you know, what is needed and what I felt like I didn't see other brands doing. So we are so excited that you have the product. Can't wait to see pictures of you rocking it on the streets of New York. And we would love, 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 you know, to include you as we continue to design products, get your voice represented in what Mightywell's doing.
Of course, I would always be here to advocate for others.
Well, we can't wait to have you and continue as a friend in the fight. We're going to wrap up here. If any of our viewers have any other questions, what would you love to leave the audience with, who are tuning in maybe at a later date and also are wondering where to find you?
Honestly, to just have an open mind, and if you're not, like, don't be afraid to take that first step. If you're anxious of doing something new, of reaching out, or that way, take that first step, because honestly, after that first step, everything else just is so much easier.
It is. And it's so hard to take that first step. And then it's hard to take the second step and the third step. And then you fall back down the mountain and you go through a tunnel in a cave and you're like, why am I doing this? But, for me, it's when I meet people like you and it shows me I'm not alone in this journey. We may have different diagnoses, different, physical abilities, but you and I still go through a lot of the same struggles and the same, prejudices, I guess people, think of when they hear someone sick or has a physical disability. So thank you so much for being on this edition of Friends in the Fight. We can't wait to have you as a part of the Mighty Well community. And for those tuning in who aren't aware yet, I'm actually broadcasting from our new office in New York City. We are located now in Times Square as well as in Rhode Island. So if you're in New York, come find me. Let's have coffee. Let's meet you where you're at. I know we'll be hosting a Mighty Well meetup sometime this summer. So we hope that we can meet you in person, Janira, and anyone else in the New York City area who would love to join us. All right. And lastly, where can they find you on Instagram, or what's the best channel to reach you?
On Instagram, you can find me at Janira Elizabeth with the S, and on Facebook, Janira Obregon, my name.
Wonderful. Well, we'll certainly repost and tag you on all of Mighty Well's channels, and this will be turned into a blog. We are so grateful that your image was also shared in our Who, What, Where article that got thousands and thousands of reads. So your face is getting out there, your voice is being heard, and we are so thankful to have you as one of our newest friends in the fight.
Happy to be a new friend. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.